Kia ora everyone, my name's Zach, I love rugby, welcome back to Hakatime Rugby. This team selection for the Springboks is in, it's the 7-1 split. Wow, it is bold, it is courageous, I think it is genius. And it's also a warning shot across to the All Blacks, right? The Springboks are coming, they're bringing 2 forward packs. They're willing to go 80 minutes with the rough stuff, the physical stuff, and it's going to be up to the All Blacks now to stop this. This is one thing that I absolutely love about the coaching staff, Rassie Erasmus and Jacques Nienaber, is they are not afraid to make the big calls in the big moments, and this is massive. It is not without its risks though. So, my ultimate conclusion, if I'm to boil this down to 2 words, it is calculated risk. So let me go through the team selections. I'm going to identify a lot of the risk factors that exist here, but I'm also going to explain to you how a lot of the pundit talking points around how this game would play out, about where the frailties of the Springboks team are, I think they got those talking points wrong. I think these selections actually address a number of those talking points. So when I say calculated risk, yes, you are giving up something in terms of not having a specialist 9 and a specialist 10 on the bench, but what you gain is a lot of advantages, and it is not just having 15 forwards available to you to play. Let's get into the team selections anyway. So the first thing is Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard are included here. We predicted that as part of our preview series. First episode of the preview series, I predicted the lineups, and this is the first 15 that I predicted. Namely because game management, generalship, Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard, and experience, these 2 guys have it in spades. So they are there for a very specific reason, that is to manage territory, that is to run these two big forward packs, one on the bench and one starting, run them around the track to give themselves the best opportunity to win. In the backs, they still have the electric Kurtley Arons, Cheslin Colby, Damien Willemse. So there is this really nice mix between what will be a forward-dominated style and what is just really strong strike, which could emerge at any point in the game. So fascinating first 15. I think they got it right there for sure. The big talking points and risk factors, though, let's look at the bench. So 3 new inclusions. Trevor Inyakani comes in for Vincent Koch. We've got Jean Klein, who joins the bench, and Jasper Wiese as well. Willie Leroux retains his spot as the, now the only replacement back there on the bench. And as I mentioned, there is a risk here in that there is no specialist 9 or 10 there as cover off the bench. But that is calculated risk by having those additional forwards there. And they are going to need it. So one thing I want to talk about firstly is, it's a talking point that a lot of people miss around the bomb squad. And if you think back to 2019, why was the bomb squad so effective? It is not just about rolling in a large number of forwards at a specific time in the game, although that's the major talking point, and that is a huge benefit, obviously, to impact a single game. But what a lot of people fail to remember is that the Springboks, through their minutes management and rotations, right? No one really playing more than about 50 minutes in terms of the front row. It meant that once you get to the final game, you've got players that have played reduced minutes in key areas. And that's what this bomb squad also enables. It's one of the secret weapons of the bomb squad, is that, and this is one of the talking points that we've heard all along, is the Springboks have had the harder run, they've had the tougher games, they looked tired in the last game, and now they'll be fatigued going into this one. With 7 forwards off the bench, right, that fatigue factor diminishes significantly, especially if you're only playing your forwards around 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and the bench players are coming on for 35 minutes, and especially some of these fresher legs. Jean Klein, Trevor Inyakani, Jasper Wiese didn't play in the semi-final. There is enough there to rotate players, rotate minutes, and to mitigate that risk, which is, that the forward pack is tiring given the load that they've had to carry throughout the World Cup to date. So that mitigates that risk. Another big risk that I see coming here for the Springboks, and it is ball in play time. I've mentioned it on a number of different podcast collaborations that I've done in my preview series. That is exactly what is coming from the All Blacks. Jason Ryan gave an interview and was asked what he thinks about the bomb squad, and he said he would love to take some of the gas out of the bomb squad. And what he means by that, I've covered this on this channel, is that the All Blacks are playing with high tempo, but they're also playing a style of game to keep the ball in play. Long phases, connected forwards, a compressed defense. It's all a style to encourage long phase play. And that is exactly what the All Blacks are going to bring in this game. So one thing to keep an eye on, and it's probably a way of measuring the success that the All Blacks are having during the game, is keep an eye on the number of phases. If we start to see continuous sort of 20 phases, 25 phases, even up to 30 phases, then the All Blacks will be implementing their strategy correctly, because that is the tempo that they want to play with, and that is the phase play that they want to play with. So keep a close eye on that. The mitigation for that, and back to mitigating risks, right? And calculated risk, is you reduce the number of minutes for your forwards. So having a 7-1 split means that you can go toe-to-toe for longer, especially if you lose the tempo battle. We know that the Springboks, with all due respect, like to slow the game down a little bit, and that favours the more forward-dominated game. So there was a lot of talk about the Water Boys coming on and stoppages in play, and I think the ref is going to really police that. If they police that, the reffing units, let's say, then it will be harder for the Springboks to play with their tempo. So what they will need to do is play players for longer minutes. Now, with a 7-1 split, you reduce the impact of that, right? So again, it's back to risk management. If the All Blacks can impose their tempo, their style, their long phase play, then the Springboks have some answers in fresher troops, more fresher troops to compete in the physical areas for longer. So again, it's back to risk reward, and I think that's a fantastic selection there for the Springboks. The other thing I just want to talk about a little bit more is no specialist 9 and 10. Obviously, Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard there. They're gonna have to go 80 minutes, and I even thought, looking at any team selection that they might come up with, even if you have coverage for 9 and 10 on the bench, I feel these two players do need to go the full 80. Because they really need a locked-in style that is going to accentuate the forwards' capability that they have while managing territory and managing this game. So some big talking points, some big risk factors that I've covered off there, which I think are now largely mitigated. And the question now is, what will Ian Foster do? And I'm just going to say a couple of things to Foster. We will know the selections very soon. And it's great to see he and Jacques Nienaber up for Coach of the Year. And I think maybe the team that wins this game could largely be the winning of that award. But will Foster be courageous? Will Foster be bold? Right? And there's a number of selections where he has played it quite safe. And we know those areas. Finlay Christie off the bench. Right? Bought in for his defensive prowess, but didn't get a run against Ireland because they really needed Aaron Smith to play the full 80. Will it be expected that Aaron Smith plays the full 80? Will they go with a Roygaard, a D-Mac, and a Whainganuku to give the All Blacks their own bomb squad, albeit in the backs? Because that is if you've got a forward-dominated game, and and the forwards are really sort of the focus of the point of attack, and you're bringing in that attacking prowess of a D-Mac, a Roygaard, and a Whainganuku, could that be a way to mitigate some of those strengths of the Springboks? Run them around, run them to the edges, right? It's going to be fascinating to see what Fozzie comes up with, and when he does, I'm going to break it all down for you guys. One last thing I just want to touch on before we move on. I asked you guys the question. I needed feedback, and I wanted to know, should I give a prediction? Well, I'm definitely going to give a prediction, and I think that prediction is slightly changed a little bit now that I've seen this squad, and it may even change again once we see the All Black squad. So tune in for the rest of the preview series. One more to go. We'll do the final review once we see the All Black squad, and I'll do the final prediction in that video as well. I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy.